Inflation is supposed to hurt everyone. Prices rise, savings shrink, salaries fall behind. But what if I told you there's a small group of people who love inflation, who grows richer, faster, every time your grocery bill jumps? An invisible class that treats every financial crisis like a harvest season. Because while most people lose purchasing power, the ultra-rich quietly convert inflation into profit, into assets, into control. Almost as if inflation itself is their business model. So today, we're opening the files and uncovering how the ultra-rich turn inflation into gold. Before we start, if you want more deep dive stories like this, make sure you subscribe to the Financial Files. Now, let's begin. Inflation feels like an economic tax, a silent drain on the middle class. But historically, inflation has been rocket fuel for asset owners. In the 1970s, inflation hit 13%. The wealthy? They got richer. In 2021-2022, global inflation spiked. Billionaire wealth increased by $5 trillion. How? Because inflation punishes cash, but rewards assets. And the ultra-rich don't hold money. They hold things that rise when money falls. Think of it like a rising tide. Most people drown. The wealthy, they ride the wave. Here's how the system works. First, inflation makes debt cheaper. If you borrow $100 million today and inflation eats away the real value, you repay the loan with weaker dollars. Who uses this most effectively? Large investors, private equity, real estate tycoons. Second, they buy hard assets before everyone panics. Land, apartment blocks, commodities, energy companies, infrastructure, art, even entire businesses. When inflation hits, these don't lose value, they gain it. The middle class sees rising rent. The wealthy see rising returns. Third, they raise prices faster than inflation. Corporate pricing power is the ultimate shield. If you own companies with a dominant market share, you can raise prices because of inflation, even if your costs haven't gone up yet. And a secret weapon? Shrinkflation and skimpflation. Quiet, invisible, legal. Fourth, they use inflation to justify layoffs. Cutting costs increases profits. Stock prices go up. Executives win. Fifth, inflation acts as a transfer mechanism from those who hold cash to those who hold assets. A wealth conveyor belt tilted upward. Now here's the turning point. Inflation doesn't just happen naturally. Sometimes it's engineered. Sometimes it's triggered. Sometimes it's the side effect of policies designed to save markets that coincidentally benefit the wealthy. Think back to 2020 to 2022. Massive stimulus, zero interest rates, supply shocks, asset bubbles. Inflation exploded. For the average household, a disaster. For asset owners, a once-in-a-generation windfall. At high levels of inflation, wealth inequality doesn't just grow, it accelerates. A sort of financial horizon hole where wealth is sucked upward faster than before. And the consequences ripple everywhere. The middle class shrinks, salaries rarely keep up, savings lose value, home ownership becomes a dream. Wealth consolidates. A few families and institutions own more land, more companies, more influence. The economy becomes rent-based. People pay rent to asset owners. Rent for homes, rent for energy, rent through subscriptions, and rent on debt. Democracy weakens as inequality rises. Economic power becomes political power. Inflation becomes a cycle the wealthy can navigate and the poor cannot escape. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Once you understand the incentives, inflation isn't a bug in the system, it's a feature. So, what's the lesson? Inflation is not just an economic number. It's a redistribution mechanism, a silent system that moves wealth from those who hold money to those who hold assets. The ultra-rich play inflation like a symphony. The rest of the world hears only noise. But the moment you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Now, I want to hear from you. Is inflation a natural force or a weapon used by those already in power? Let me know in the comments.